Okay, so the switch statement is basically about decision making and choices. So in order to make a choice, we basically create a switch statement. Now a switch statement basically tests a variable value. So let's create a value called score, like a quiz score, and assign it 5. So we created a variable and assigned it a particular value. Now we are going to check this score variable. So the default the default statement should be when no match when there is no match, then the default part will be executed. Okay, so this is the default part. When none of the cases match, it will go to the default part. Okay, now let's create a case. Let's the case the value is 2. Then what should happen? Well, then we should write you failed, and then we will break out of the switch statement. Like, let's create another statement. If 5, what happens when the value is 5? So basically if it's 5, we will write average. Don't forget to break out of the statement. Case 8. Just remember that the precedence and the flow. Okay, so we created a few cases. Like, we created a basically we will test this variable score, and we will check if the case is 2, 5 or 8, and if none of the values match, it will go to the default part. So we assigned the value 5. Now let's check it. Let's run our application. So basically the value we've assigned to score is 5. Now let's see what appears on the screen. So basically over here you can see the input is average, because 5 value is for average. Now let's change it to 8. Let's assign 8 to it, and while we assign it, let's run our app and see what's the value. So the value is good. Well, it's working fine. Now let's give a value that is not in our cases, and the default part will be executed. So we gave 100, that gives us the invalid input. So this is how your switch statement works. But notice that the default part executes when none of the cases match. First of all, the square variable will test for value 2. If it matches, this writeLine method will be called. If case 8 matches, this writeLine will be called. What break is used to, it will kick you out of this bracket, this scope, and the code beneath it, under it, will not be executed.